Hello. Today I'm going to walk through how I set up a site on Webflow. I have been doing Webflow for 4 or 5 years now. As you can see, I have a lot of different projects. I have a design agency where we use Webflow exclusively as our website platform. You can see here's some of the projects I'm involved in, some of the companies I've worked with, lots of venture-backed startups in the deep tech space specifically. By no means am I a Webflow expert, but I try my best to learn every day, and I've been doing so for a few years, so I've picked up a few little tips and tricks. I'm still learning all the time, but this is the process that I use at the moment, and this is the process that I'll be sharing with my team at WEBOAF. So, my favorite Webflow person is a guy called Timothy Ricks, and he has created this design system called Lumos. There's other options like client first or masked, which personally I don't like. Client first is just a bad developer experience from my perspective. I have a healthy amount of OCD. I like things to be ordered. I like things to be easy to use. I like efficient workflows. And I find client first doesn't really have that. It was built to be readable by the client from what I understand. And as a result, all the class structure, kind of confusing, cumbersome, lots of typing, lots of duplicating your work, blah, 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 blah. The benefit, I guess, is like you can use the Reloom library and things like that. So a lot of people do love that, but I don't like it. Mast is a great system, super easy to use, very lightweight. But then I would also say not as scalable as Lumos. Like Lumos, I can build a site like this one. This was a crazy push for me, but it's got like 40 pages, and I was able to build it I had a week, and I decided to teach myself Lumos, which took like a few days, and then smash the site out in the final couple of days. And because of the way Lumos is built, I was able to build like all these different sections with like light and dark mode toggle, and then just repeat that across all sorts of different pages with lots of like repeatable sections in the same system. So yeah, that is a good use case. It's personally, I think it's the best from what I've used so far. So without further ado, basically T-Rix has made this clonable, which has been cloned less than 10,000 times, which is absolutely criminal considering how good it is. But basically I've cloned that, and then for my agency, which has a unique aesthetic and a unique style specialized to the deep tech world, I've created this site called Prometheus, which is like a version of Lumos that I've forked and added some variations to make it easier for my development workflow, making these specific aesthetic sites for clients. I start every project here, site settings, straight away just duplicate it, and there we have it, copy of Prometheus. So open site. The site that I'm going to be building today is this one. It's called Early Risers. My friend Mark Maxwell has made a course for young professionals early in their career. He's an independent thinker. He's a great communicator. He likes to follow like his own path, which I love, and he's actually very great. So I'm helping him out on this little project here, like one of his projects that he's got going on. So we drummed up this landing page. He does have one at the moment, but it wasn't converting well enough, so we've just done some simple things in the design just to start. Well, first we're designing it properly so that it looks professional. Then there's a couple of things we're doing, like adding in social proof, bringing the price up front, using this price as an anchor for that price. Lots of small psychology tricks that we're using throughout the site. So yeah, I've got this Figma design. So then coming into the site that I've just duplicated, first thing you do is just fix all the settings. So first let's change it, Early Risers, save. Update the webflow.io domain, Early Risers WEBOAF, save. Minify CSS, Minify JSS. let's just do that for now. Save. Don't need a plan yet. Site usage, don't need that yet. SEO. Turn off indexing of the subdomain. That's just annoying for everyone. When that site starts getting ranked in Google ahead of the main site, we don't like that. Forms, I will do this after, but I'm going to send form submissions to his email address. Libraries, fonts. Okay, fonts, this is a good one. So we're using Instrument Sans and Instrument Serif. These are both strong fonts. And I think I'm just gonna use, you don't want to bring in too many, but equally, I don't like to come back and have to bring in another weight, so yeah. So we add the fonts in, referencing the Figma file, that's good. These are fonts that I've added from the original site. And you can see there's some custom code here for GSAP and some FinSuite stuff. I'll leave it for now, but at the end, if we've not used it, we'll come back and remove some of those bits. So now we're ready to open site. Iced coffee, lovely stuff. So Prometheus, built on Lumos. At the moment, this is still like a beta version, so I've got some simple like early starting pages here and some sections here. You can see like with some of my old client stuff like FAQ section, blah, blah, blah. Some nav bars. This is kind of the important bit, the style guide, but you'll be happy to hear, because of how beautiful this system is, you just have to go into variables and update this, and then it updates throughout the site everything that would change for the brand. So first things first, this blue color, come down here, just copy the code, and we'll do brand Bosch, and then this is all a light theme background, and you can see the main ones to note is like this color. I would refer to that as light background 1 because it's like the primary, and then light background 0 is white, it's where you want to go lighter, and then light background 2 is where I want to go a little bit darker, would be in there, that fill color. And then light border, you can see is this one. Which, to be honest, yeah, let's just do that. Light text 1, I think I've gone for a slightly off black. Yep, I have. So there's there. Light text 2, this one. And now that is all the color set up. I haven't got a dark mode, so I'm just going to ignore these for now. I could delete them, but I'm just going to leave them there. Basically, all the colors just mean is like dark, the letter at the start is like dark or light mode. So dark, light. And then this is the system of colors that I use, that we use at WEBOAF to have websites and change their look quickly. And also maintain a system that's scalable, so it's unique across the entire site. So there's, every site has the core background, which is background 1, a darker version of that, which is background 0, which is used for borders and things like that, and background 2, which is also used for backfills or borders, and that's a lighter version. Then you have the border color, which is actually what we use exclusively for borders, and then there's a text 1 and text 2. So you can see even our color system is already set up to create a hierarchy in the page that allows for a better user experience by directing the eye subtly but surely to unique bits of text or images or visuals on the page. So after that is set up, most of these are going to remain the same. we have all these different variables for all the different heading sizes, but all you need to know is come down to eyebrow is always IBM Plex Mono. That is one of our sort of design features. It's an amazing font. My first job, which I hated, was at IBM, so now I kind of find it funny. It's a joke. I like to leave it in there. And then here you just choose the heading font, which is Instrument Serif. And then the body family, which is Instrument Sans. And now, bang, fonts, colors, everything's updated across the entire website. So I come back here, you can see all our headings, you see our eyebrow text, you see our colors, and home. You can see like it's all updated. So then I am just going to do a bit of sizing. All headings, heading family, heading and spacing. This should be bigger. 3 rem, simple. H3 can be half of that. Now let's make it 2. And then H4 can be 1.1, 1.25, and then 1. Not the most scientific thing, but this is a purpose of this website is to get data and start making iterations, not to make the most pixel perfect design that's ever been created. So yeah, that is basically the setup done, and now we are ready to start building. So this page should be saved as this should be saved as a draft, and it's used for reference for all of these sections. So I'm gonna get these will all be components as well. So I'm building out a system of a component system, but for now we can just copy and paste from the page builder page. So navbar goes there, and then just make sure it's fixed to the top. And I'm just gonna leave that there for now. I'll edit it later. So I just want to show how the system works for building sections. So it's not too complicated. So Command E on Mac, I'm not sure if you're on Windows, I'm sorry to hear that. You can figure out what the command is. So then I'm just gonna add in a div block like so. And then I'm going to do Command Enter, which takes me to the style selector. I'm going to write a class. It's going to be Hero Section. I'm going to say Landing Hero Section. And then this has to be updated to say Section to allow for a certain bit of custom code that we use to work. And then custom attributes, this should be, put myself down there, data theme dark, light, because we're building in light mode for this. And then basically, yeah, there's some custom code I have that changes the background of the navbar depending on which section underneath is, like what the data theme is there. And that basically toggles between light mode and dark mode. And then I like to add a background color to each section, which I can just do theme and do background 1. Command E, div, this is going to be container. Command Enter, this is going to be landing hero contain, and then add on this global class uContainer, which adds in everything you need for any container, which adds, it adds padding and max width on the sides so that everything's in the same line on the page. So now, because this is the hero section, this is going to have a minimum height of 100 view height. And this is going to be 100%. Well, for some reason, which I've not figured out yet, it never goes to 100% of... Oh yeah, this should also be position relative, which it is. Okay, nice. Okay, so then come back here. What's going on here? So we have a grid of 1, 2. You can imagine it like that. So I'm going to put in here a div saying, again, landing hero wrap. Let's just go landing hero grid. And then you can go grid column 2. Although, to be honest, I actually find that annoying to use. Let's just do that, and then we'll do grid. It's not hard to set up, bang. And then div landing. Now, at this stage, because we've gone like landing hero, it's quite clear what section it is. I'm going to do LH grid left, LH grid left wrap, and then LH grid right wrap. And then in here we need, so that's got those two going. So this is going to have a video. So for now, let's just do, I'm not sure how I'll do it. Let's do video for now, like so. And then this is going to have, well, it's going to have a couple of things actually. Let's just make the div wraps for now. So we've got div, div, div. And we'll go div, and call this one eyebrow wrap, because I'll use that across the rest of the site. Then another div, and it's going to be called hero h1 wrap, and then another div which is going to be buttons wrap, which I don't want to go in there, and I don't want that to go in there. So in the eyebrow wrap, we're going to have some text. In this, we're going to have H1, and we're going to have a paragraph. And then in this, we're going to have a button, which for now, let's just do that and that. So we're using components to build those buttons there. Okay, so this I want to be flex middle, down, sorry, like that. This is going to be home, hero, eyebrow, eyebrow, main. And now we have our beautiful eyebrow font, for which we're going to just do this. Okay, I have obviously used this class before. For now, let's just do that. No, I think that's a little bit too big. So I'm going to go eyebrow, small. And like, you don't have to use these classes. They're just ones that I've used. Like, if anything, you can use your own based on your workflow. So do that. Make this 100. See corner, if you go on variables, it gives you 100 V width, which makes it round. And then this has background color, which is that one we talked about, which is background 2. Sorry if you can hear my dog snoring. She's quite a loud snorer. But I'm happy because she's getting rest. So, yes. So now we have that. This has a, I really want it to have a white stroke, for which I'm just going to use that, it's always white. And I also want to add in this little brand color thing, little circle. So I'm just going to do this like 8 pixels by 8 pixels. And then 100 VW. And then gonna give it a brand, oh, not that. Gonna give it a background of brand on the theme. And then this eyebrow wrap is gonna be flex that way, with like maybe a 4 pix and 8 pix gap, center aligned, and then just need do that. And then also I just made this, I'm gonna call this like eyebrow tag indicator. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so there's our eyebrow thing. As you can see, it's like kind of close, slightly different. I was originally going to use this font, but I'm going to try it with this font to see how it looks. Then heading. So every heading, every title, this is an important point. The way we do it is a custom class, and then you add on the global class after. This means that it gives you a starting point for every H1, H2, H3, but because you've added a global class onto a custom class, you can edit each individual instance to change it for its specific location on the page. So I'm going to go hero H1 and then go U text H1. So that will make it as the H1 is set up in the variables, but if I want to change anything like the color or the size for this specific location, it won't spread across the rest of the site. And now you can see how we use Lumos to build fast and efficient. And that's something you'll get a feel for the more that you use it. So just copy this text, bring it over. And now here's another fun thing. So come in here, do text wrap in the custom properties and do either pretty or balance, which I prefer. And then boom, we've used code to make it look nice. And then paragraph, drop that in there. And then we're gonna go home, hero, para, u text, main. Okay, so now that should be the paragraph text that I've just tried to implement using the variables is coming out with instrument serif instead of instrument sans. So I'm just going to come back to the variables and I'm going to check to see, yeah, body family instrument sans. And then if I go to text small, yeah, okay. So these, you can see here, text large, text main, and text small are for the body text. So I should probably rename those to body. I'll do that another time. Actually, yeah, I will rename those to body. So heading family, let's do body family, and then weight, body regular. And this is how you change the font for each one. Body regular, and then text small, body family, and font weight, body regular. And then just checking. Okay, so now come back to home and we have that correctly done. We have our buttons. So I'm just gonna make this. Wait, what have I done here? Okay, so this is an example now where in this design, because I've done it quickly to show the idea, this is where like it's expected of the dev team or anyone producing work within WEBOAF. Obviously, this has to have spacing that works. So 24 is the gap there, and 48 there. But it looks like the top gap needs to be smaller. So I'm gonna do in this section, I'm gonna do a flex like that, and then give it like a 16, or let's just call it 1 rem gap. Even that looks too big. I'm gonna give it a 0.5 rem gap. And then this I'm gonna give a 1 rem, actually also a 0.5 rem gap. And then I just want this button wrap to be down a bit further. So 0.5 RAM. 1 RAM. And you know, as this is for a one-page site, so I don't mind having weird things like a margin there instead of using a more consistent system. But obviously for bigger sites, then it would definitely become more and more important to get all of that sizing set up properly. But for this walkthrough, I'm going to ignore that. But you can see here, like, there's all these variables set up ready for you to implement a system with, like, corner radiuses, gaps, max widths, paddings, spacings, blah, blah, blah. But for today, that is outside the scope of this video. Okay, so this is going to be hero video. I'm going to try and, this section, why does it never, if someone can explain this to me, that would be great. I have a 100V width section relative, and then I have a container 100% height, but it doesn't fill the bloody container. Very frustrating. Maybe I'll just do this for now. This is what I always just do that, and then do that. That'll do for now. Okay, so there we have it. There is our hero section, and this is like a good place to have it. Oh yeah, and then the next point would be just making sure it works on all the breakpoints. So on tablet, for this particular case, probably break it down immediately like that, and also add a bit more gap at the top, do 10. And then as we come down, I hate this breakpoint. Who scrolls websites with a phone or landscape? I don't know. And then at this point, I would just, on mobile, I don't like to have horizontally stacked buttons, so they should go like that, and they should be 100% width. Buttons should be vertically stacked, 100% width. And yeah, that's that section. Now this also, the spacing on mobile needs to be thought through a little bit better. Just space things out a little bit more. In fact, let's do 1 rem there, and then 2 rem here. Just because it's a smaller screen, everything's a bit more squished in. And actually I'm going to remove that bit there. Do that. And I'm actually going to put the video as the first section on mobile first. So there we have it. That's the hero section structure built using a selection of the variables available to us with the Lumos design system. So we've built the hero section, right? And I'm now going to build the next section. In this case, I'm going to do the navbar last because there's only one page, and I'll just add the links to each section after. So without further ado, as we do for each new section, we come into page main, Command E, div, and let's call this one, we name the section after the content. So this one will be problem section, and as before, make sure it's got a section tag there. Make sure data theme light, and then problem section, background color, background 1. Now another div block, problem contain u container global class. So now we have our container element. So you can see, like, on Figma, I've already auto layouted these things, if that's a adjective. It is now. So you imagine that's all in the div, in the container, and then there's 1, 2, so we're going to need 2 div blocks within this, and Yeah, I think let's just do 2. This will be problem h2 wrap and div. And then let's just build that out. So this is going to have in it. I'm actually just going to copy this thing because it's going to have another one of them, eyebrow wrap. So where we can, it's always good to reuse stuff. H2 and paragraph. So H2 is going to say this. Copy that in there. Paragraph is going to say this. Now, this design, basically I want it to, the width to be maxed out when that is on 2 lines. So, let's just make this problem h2. So we've got a unique identifier for that, then apply the global class, which is utext h2. And then, actually my face is in the way. It's in the way wherever I put it, maybe there. And then this whole thing, problem h2 wrap, let's just make it, let's experiment with some character widths. Probably 40, yeah. And then this should be, make the container center aligned. And then this wrap thing, this is going to be a flex down middle, maybe like a 16 pix gap. This is going to be center, and I think that is probably too small for a H2. So what I'll do is come to H2 and just fix it up so it's, I don't know, 3.5, a little bit bigger. And then probably, let's see how that looks. Bit better. And I'm just gonna make this 45. Maybe make it 60 actually. That actually looks okay, but I'm just gonna add another text wrap, make it balanced. This paragraph is going to be problem main utext main, and then make that like that. I've had enough, I've had enough. Okay, that's good. So now I'm going to add in another div. Oh yeah, this needs to be, this is the problem container, it needs to be vertical, center middle, let's say. Let's add a 64 pix gap. This is going to be called problem feature wrap. Didn't mean to do a capital letter there. FYI, when Webflow exports the code or the CSS, it removes all the capitals, so if you ever use capitals, it's not going to work. So just do it lowercase. So this is going to be, could do it as a flex or as a grid. I'm going to do it as a grid, so they're all not equidistant, but I don't know, same width. And in there I'll just do one first, problem, feature, item. Now this is going to be a vertical thing like that, in the middle, maybe like 16 pix. And now in some cases, I would use this as, export this as a SVG. In this case, I'm just going to name them all, so, and then export them as PNGs, just for speed. Because speed is more of a priority right now. So the reason I'm naming them is just to ensure that they have the file name is right, so I can see which one to put where, which you'll see in a second. Then go boom, boom, boom. Export. Let's do 4x, so they're super sharp. Get the zip file, and then we will drag and drop these into here. So first thing is going to have an image, which is going to be information, and then this should be 32 pics. How big was it here? 48. So just making some unique classes that I can use for the other sections as well. And then in here I'm going to add a H3, and it's going to be problem H3 utext H3. And then in here add a paragraph, and this is going to be problem main utext main. So let's just see how that looks. Okay, so I just want this whole thing. Actually, if I just make these, I'm just to see how I'm gonna put them all in the right place, and then because I've used a class for each of these, I'll be able to style them all at the same time. Now, this I would like to stay on 3 lines. So at that size, we do max width 30 ch. Okay, so I've got the same class for that thing and for this thing, which is wrong. I didn't realize I was doing that. So for these ones, actually I'm going to change this one and just call it problem para. Wait, sorry. Duplicate the class and then rename it problem main text. So now I can change these ones without it impacting that one. That's not made a difference. Now we're looking at 3. Now we're looking good. We're looking at 4 for that one. So let's make it like 28. And then just make sure the text wrap. And now this gap needs to be bigger. And I think that will do. Probably make this gap even bigger as well. So yeah, that's probably too big. What's the halfway between 64 and 128? 64 plus 32, which is 96, I think. Minus 16, 17. So all the spacing I do is in multiples of 4. So it's like 2, 4, 8, 6. No, sorry, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 524. So just keep those numbers in mind, because that just allows you to, without making a super detailed spacing system, everything looks like it's spaced how it should be. So when I say that, I mean the gap here is 16. The gap here is 32, and then the gap here is bigger than both of those, 70. So it shows that there's the top section, and then there's each of these are blocks that live together. Actually, these could probably be 12 to be amorphous. So basically each block is like blockified, which makes it easier for the human brain to scan information. Whereas if you had a bigger gap here, let's say this was 64, it's unclear, like it looks like that's one thing, that's another thing, that's another thing, and then this is another thing. It's hard to scan. So yeah, keep everything tight in its relative blocks. This maybe actually could even come down to 24. Like that. Okay, nice. And could even, I wanted to see what this would look like with slightly smaller text. Just leave it. Okay, so that's that section done. Now we come into this section. So my story, you can see it's a section with background 1 and then an inner block with background 0. And within that, there's these bits, including a button. So as always, start with the div block, story, section, yeah, as I mentioned, background 1, story, contain, and then within this, I'm going to put another div. I'm going to call this story wrap, and this is going to be a grid with 2 columns, 1 row, and then let's just put in div story image wrap, and then another div story content wrap. So I'm just naming it things that like kind of make sense. It doesn't really matter, but just keep it relatively clean. Then this is H2 paragraph, and do we have a link? For now, I'm just going to leave the link block because I'm going to make some buttons and some standard ones. Okay, so now we have this image that we want to export. I'm going to export it with no corners, just so we have the full thing. I'm going to rename it Mark Maxwell Headshot. This is very important because for SEO purposes and just for general keeping everything tidy, it has to be named. Every single image has to be named. So then put that in like so. And I'm just going to give this a class of story image, and then this is going to have a square ratio. Don't know why Webflow does that. It's going to be 100% of its container, and we're going to add a corner of 12. Actually, let's do 16. I'll explain why in a second. And then for the wrap, we're going to add 20. So now there's like that corner calculation. So 20, let's just say, okay, that's too big. Let's say this is 16, 16, 16, 16. And now this is going to be background 0, like so. I think 16 is even too big. Let's do 12. 12, 12, 12. Okay, so now if this is going to have a corner of, let's just do 20, then this has to have a corner of 20 minus the gap, which is 12, so it has to have a corner of 8. And now you'll see that that corner radius there is perfect. I actually want to make this section of the grid a bit bigger. So this just makes it like proportionally, there's 1 and 2, so that side is going to be 2/3 of the size, if that makes sense. Now story H2, U text H2. So this is something you just do time and time again. Heading in, custom class, global class, and then style. Again, story, para, U text, main. Now I'm going to bring these over. Like so. Now this is going to be middle, down, middle, and just do like 16 bits. Yeah. Now I don't want this to be full width. I want it to kind of fit in the same space as this bad boy. So maybe what other sections do we have? Okay, forgive me, I'm just thinking of the best way to, for now, let's just do like, we'll do it by eye, do that. Okay, that's pretty good. I just want the padding to be a bit more, let's give it a bit more breathing room. And yeah, as I mentioned, like, doing this by eye is good, it's fine for a one-pager. For a site with like 5 or more pages, to be honest, even more than one page, then all of these spacings, it's just easier to systemize it. But for now, I'm happy with how it's looking. The only thing is, now that's made that, I'm going to maybe make this utext small. Okay, that'll do. Now we're going to make the next section, which is this FAQ section. No, it's not. It's a course details section. So I'll do div course details. No, let's call it curriculum section. Again, this is kind of tedious. If anyone can think of a better way, do let me know. Style, background. Div curriculum contain u container, and then in here we're going to put, how should we structure this? See, now I want all of this just to be, maybe we'll do that. That can be the H2 wrap, and this can be the list. That can be a button. So we'll do div curric H2 wrap, and then we'll do H2 parent, and then we'll do div curric list. And then in there we'll put in some divs, curric item, and then boom, 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 boom. Put a button in there as well, or a link, link block. So give the main heading, again, custom class plus the global class for H2. Like so, and then again, curric para utext main, and now you can get this across. So this one, I'm gonna do middle, boom, just do like 8 picks, and then with this I'm just gonna make this, and then in here this is an item, so it's going to have a white background, it's going to have this icon which is going to be check So let's export that, put 4x. And then after we've imported it there, we'll bring it in here. Just make it 32 pixels. 24, that's probably better. And then also going to add in some text and just do this. I want it to be the same size as this, so just call it the same thing. Correct power u text main. And then this should be a flex block, horizontally aligned, middle, maybe 16, 12. Now I want to see, do I make these large or bold? No, I'm going to make them bold like the design. U text main. And now make the weight medium. And now we've got the same problem where like I should have used a different thing here. So I'm going to duplicate the class, correct h2 para. That's like the heading paragraph, and then just make this back to normal. Okay, and then this is going to be going to have like 8 pics. Add some padding to it of 8 pixels in all directions. Then I'm going to add a background of background 1 and a corner radius of, let's say, 8. Just kind of random, but it works. And then this list, let's like just duplicate that so we can see how it's going to look. And then this list is going to be a vertical flex box, center aligned, with a gap of, say, 16, because this is 32. But I'm actually going to make that a bit bigger. I'm going to make that 48. Just to make it clear they're different sections. Now let's just get all of these across. Because yeah, now we're going to have to choose a width for this bit. And then make sure all of these are the same. So let's do max width. Well, let's just do a width. Or make this max width. No, let's just make it width 30 rem. A bit too big. Make sure the container is like that. And then make sure all of these are 100% of the parent. And now they're all the same size. And I'll just add in a button there for now. It's a placeholder. And again, just bumping up the padding on the top and bottom just to make it sure it's got more space. And now like it's probably a good time to publish it and just take a look at how it looks. I realise I then need to go back and do the mobile optimization. Sometimes this takes ages, sometimes it's very quick. Also, I'm experimenting with these headphones to see if the microphone is better today. So, let me know. Okay, this is looking good. You can see, like, I like it that each section, as you scroll into it, it's the padding allows it to be one section per like scroll block. So that maybe even that's a bit tight but I think that works fine. Yeah, this is all good. It's looking good. It's looking good. So what next? Only a couple more sections left. Student success stories, which we're probably going to want to set up as a CMS. Maybe not just yet. for this, and then some FAQs. Okay. So this is going to be a very easy section, student success stories. So just go div testimonial section. There you go, settings, set tag to section, custom attributes, data, theme, light, div, background color, background 1, testimonial contain, container, and now this simply has h2 and a div which is testimonial grid, and at this point, I mean, I could duplicate this, but then I'd have to change all the class names. I think it's just easier just to make a new one again. Div testimonial item. Now I've got this icon that I'm going to export as testimonial icon. So make sure we name it and export. Add it into Webflow. It's worth noting that before publishing, in fact we can do it now, this is something that has to be done. If it's decorative, then make sure you add a tag. This is for SEO. It will get ranked down if these items aren't tagged properly. So it helps screen readers to understand what it is, this alt text. So if it's decorative, I feel like it's just easier to put them as decorative instead of saying like empowerment icon, because if you were reading it with a screen reader, you wouldn't want to read like empowerment icon, empowerment, you just want the text. Whereas like an image of Mark, I think this is one where it would be like Mark Maxwell headshot, because it helps to know that, and also it's good for SEO. So if you Google now in the next few weeks and months Mark Maxwell, this is one of the images that will come up, and this tag is going to help that happen. So it means he can start to build his profile on the internet, which is always good. There we have it. So testimonial h2, text h2. So it's going to be icon, paragraph, text. So image, paragraph, text, block. This is going to be that. It's going to be testimonial icon. This is way too big. Same as before, let's do 48 pics. Nah, too big again, 32. And actually that quality doesn't look great. Did I export? I'm not sure if I exported at highest quality. Let's try again. See, when I mention attention to detail, this is what we do. We don't cut corners. There, that's much better. If you notice something isn't right, you have to go back and change it. That's what makes us so valued by the clients that we do work with and the customers we have. And it makes a difference for the user and the website at the end. Like, we want to make beautiful things that work well. We don't want to rush things and put out stuff that isn't very good. And as you can see, this should have a white background, which is background 0. And then we'll just add a small padding to this. See how that looks. And then make this into a grid, 3 columns, 2 rows. And the fact that this is a grid, this is also now going to be ready to, like, boom, do 6 if we need. So it's ready to be extended. Now I'm going to come back to the items. They need to be middle aligned like so. And then I'm just going to make this a bit bigger as well, because like right now that padding is not very big. And I'm going to make this testy para uText small. Let's make this middle and text wrap bands. And then this can be testy name uText main. So it's a bit bigger. Actually no, let's make it uText small. I like to either have a hierarchy in font weight or font size, not both. So as you can see here, the hierarchy is in weight. So we've got 16 pixels padding inside, so the gap needs to be bigger than that. Let's do double. Something like that would work. And then this container, let's just make it middle, and then add again an even bigger gap. So we've got 16, 32, 64. And then what was this? Student success stories. And then this, I liked this corner 12. Add a corner radius of 12. And there we have it. Those aren't styles, let's just do, there we go. And again, this is something where if like we're building the full site, instead of me doing like updating the vertical padding for each section, I would just adjust the global class, but we can save that for another day. So there's that section done. Okay, now for an exciting, going back to this section. This is my favorite bit of any website build, making it mobile responsive. Joking, I hate it. But nevertheless, it has to be done. So I've just realized we've done the first section. Just want to start doing the other section. So tablet is usually okay. I think this does the job still in every area. And then the pointless breakpoint. At this stage, I think this list might as well become a vertical flex, like so. And then this should become a vertical flex. And this should no longer be square. We can make it just like that. I don't know why. What is that? This. Okay, because this is the way this is, we don't notice it should be in the middle. So come back here. Now it's in the middle. That's all good. And then this grid as well should become a vertical flex. And now mobile. This actually should be a smaller gap. This should be a bigger gap. Even bigger. I hope that you can see why I just did that. And then on mobile, I actually don't like center aligned text. As a general rule of thumb, just get rid. It's easier to read it when it's on the right. Unless it's like, this is fine, because it's like quite clear. Yeah, all good. This becomes right. And now this is where the spacing that I used falls apart. Because you can see these are 100%. This is 28 rem. So then if we go to here, it's too big. So let's do this auto. Nice. These are looking good. Okay, nice. That was relatively painless. Only 2 minutes of mobile responsiveness editing. Again, this video is intended to show how I do stuff on the fly. And as projects get more advanced and bigger, you can't do stuff like this on the fly. You have to think about it before you do it and make a proper system for doing it. Okay, so final couple of sections now. This is going to be the FAQ section. So for this, I actually have a component that I have built, which is this one. And we're going to do, let's just take the whole thing. Now this is, oh, this bloody face. Okay, now do the same thing again to make a section. FAQ section, settings, section, data theme, light, style, background color, background 0, background 1, sorry. And then put a div block in, do FAQ contain u container, yes. And then in here, I'm going to copy paste my bloody FAQ thing. So this should be not white but text 1. Equally, I want this to be not a grid but a vertical flex. So actually I'm going to duplicate this FAQ wrap. Ooh, FAQ home wrap, like so. And then these, we're going to open up the item and just make sure that this is text 1. And now this comes with, so these are all just items and there's custom code in here, so that now if I publish this, should, once it arrives, I think because I've edited the name of this FAQ wrap, or FAQ home wrap, just see where the code is. Base, color, responsive, custom. So I'm just looking for the custom code for the FAQ items. Actually, I can't find it. So I'm gonna go and grab it from the website where I know that it is. And this is an example of where I just wanna like clean up our process so that by the time we start working, the template itself has all of this stuff. So some of this might be redundant by the time you come to use this video. So yeah, here is the FAQ section. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. Custom code, link block, image feature, navbar, FAQ. Okay, here's the custom code, and I'm gonna put this into, I'm actually just gonna put it into the FAQ wrap. So do custom code, do HTML, right, how is it? Embed, code embed. And then do style, because this is CSS and it's a HTML embed. So you start with the style tags, save and close, bring up here, boom, put it there. And boom, we see it has opened. So now let's see, oh okay, actually now that that's open, let's just make sure that this answer text is also text. This is a good opportunity to use text too. And also not PT serif, this should be instrument sounds. 1 rem. Yeah, that works. Okay, now let's see how that works. Yeah, now we've got working FAQ section. So now I'm going to move the Figma onto my other page and just update all the questions, which, because the way I've done it as components, you can do this, which is a quicker way of updating it and allows the client to update it freely. For now I'm just going to leave it as those ones because the client will need to come in and fix the FAQs. And the FAQ wrap, I'm going to use the same max width as I used for this, 60 rem. Container, middle again, this, middle, anything else? So I had them with white background. I think I'm going to do that again. So I'm just going to edit the component, add a bit of pad, and there we have the FAQ section. And a bit of corner as well. I've been liking 12, like so. Just check how that breaks down. Yeah, that's working. Okay. So now that just leaves this final CTA section, and then it'll be footer. So CTA section, call it exactly that. And in there, we're going to put a div block, which is called CTA contain u container. And then within that, I'm going to put a div block called CTA wrap, which again, max width 80 rem. And I forgot to change the background color of the section, so I'm just going to change that. Also make sure it's light. And then in here, it's going to be similar to this bit, just like opposite way around. It's going to be a grid, 2 columns, and this one's going to be 2, that one's going to be 1, and it's going to have 20 pics, padding, wait, what padding does this have? 12, 12, 12, 60. So that's got 60, it's got 12. And then I think that would make the corner radius 20, and then let's just export this 12 early risers careers. If in doubt, just name it something partially relevant to the topic or to the website. This is definitely decorative, so make this decorative. Div. 2 divs in there. This one's going to be CTA image wrap. In there we're going to put an image, which is going to be this one. Well, that's CTA image. And this is going to have 12. This is going to have a background of brand. So I think those corner radiuses look good. And then in here, I'm going to do H2, and then a list of these, and then button. I'll do H2. Let's call that CTA H2 uText H2. And now this is where you want to edit the color, because it's on a dark background. Let's just also make sure this is center. Don't know why this is not there. Then I'm going to need a slightly, it's the same icon as before, but just a different color. So this is where, on a big site, I would make this export it as an SVG. Then we'd be able to edit the code to change the color. But for now, again, because it's a quick one-pager, the purpose of this website is to start experimenting, not to build like the perfect final scalable site. So we're going to optimize for speed instead of scale. Let's call this CTA list, and in there we'll put in another div block called CTA item, and then in there we'll have an image, which will be this, which will be 32 pixels big, too big, 20, and then in there we'll have some text, which will be CTA text, uText main, and that's also going to be background color. It's 32, oh, way too big, 8 pics. Now in the list, it's going to be flex. Boom, and there we have it. And then I'll just put a button in there as well. Again, just a placeholder for now. We will replace that with an actual button. So that is the CTA section done. Make sure it's scalable. At this stage, I'll probably break it down. That actually works. Left aligned. So just make sure. Okay, nice. So let's publish that. So now you can see the website is mostly done. Just need to add in some of the details like the logo and stuff, but you can see the structure and how I've used Lumos client first to build out the basic structure of the site. So that is going to be the end of this video for now. Again, just intended to be an overview, progress over perfection. I know it's not been the perfect video, but just want to show at a high level the process so that we can start to build systems and other people can learn from how we do it at WEBOAF. So yeah, thank you for watching.